All right, folks, back at Casa de Emmanuel, and before I came, I stopped off at Sheets in Calcutta, a little Arnold Palmer, good brew, half lemonade, half iced tea. And Mr. Madonna, before we talk politics, let's talk the legacy of Arnold Palmer, and you being a golf aficionado and a guy who loves to play a good round and has been doing it for most of your adult life. What do you think of, all these years later, when you hear of Arnold Palmer, his name?
Something of all the golfers, Arnold Palmer was the golfer of the common man and woman. He never forgot his roots in southwestern Pennsylvania, Latrobe, and he just has he never forgot that. And he remained, in some respects, an average man. I mean, despite the millionaire status, despite all the fame and all the acclaim and all the major tournaments that he won, and I think that was his appeal, energy, the swing, which I don't think modern golfers would try to emulate, as you know, but it worked for him. And I think you'll correct me. His dad was a golf course superintendent, and the fact is that's what I think of when I think of Arnold Palmer. I've played Latrobe. It's a great golf course, and he symbolizes. He's also one of those. Here's the second point. He made golf the game of the regular people, of average folks like us.
I chuckle because I always have this in my refrigerator at home, and I don't know. It's just kind of a way of me yeah, it's just kind of a way of keeping him close to my heart, and a good guy. And I want more Arnold and less Palmer. Translation: more iced tea and less lemonade. But I'll tell you, on a sweltering day, whether you're a golfer or not, it works. I mean, it really quenches your thirst. Hey, listen, time to get down to business here. And we've got so much to begin with. I want to start off with this lightning rod, this transgender issue. I'm really kind of upset with the president on this and banning from the military transgenders. And Republican conservatives saying they were lobbying for the Pentagon to not pay for gender confirmation. And the Joint Chiefs surprised by this ban, including Chairman General Joseph Dunford.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is my opinion. If somebody wants to defend their country, God bless them.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are, and I respect and I'm a big supporter of Donald Trump, but I just don't get this.
I couldn't agree more with you. Look, if you can do the work, we had this big debate with women, and it didn't prove it didn't change the nature of the effectiveness of our workforce. I mean, like all areas of society, the military has to adjust. That doesn't mean we want their effectiveness as a military reduced, but this was something, and I forget the numbers. I've seen wildly different estimates about transgender and gays in the military, something like 10 to 15,000 people. Obviously, in my humble opinion, if they're confident in their job, if they can do the work, they ought to be able to serve. There is a debate, and it's worth having, about whether the federal government should pay for those surgeries, meaning the military. That's a different debate than should, you get my point, should transgenders and gays be able to serve in the military. And yes, it can create some uncomfortable situations, but that's life, that's the way society evolves, and I've not heard anyone say it's reduced the effectiveness of our fighting force.
All right, now, White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci blaming Chief of Staff Reince Priebus for the leaks. Your observations, and those are fighting words.
Well, and boy, the tweets out later, even today, with four-letter words in them. I mean, he fired one person. I think he's firing. I'm talking about the mooch, as he's called. Firing a couple. He's promised to fire a couple more. He literally backed off because of the tweet that had Priebus in it. He said that was just for notification. He wasn't blaming him. But then later on, he didn't rule out the fact that the Chief of Staff to the President of the United States may have been responsible for the leaks. And he used all kinds of analogies like Cain and Abel, brothers. He was going to all that stuff. You add that then to what the President did 3 days in a row, taking on Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, suggesting, that if he had known before the appointment that he would recuse himself, he would not have appointed him as AG. And that has created a furor among Senate Republican leaders. It looks like at the moment led by John McCain. But you have Lindsey Graham there, you have other senators there, some have gone as far as saying, we won't confirm a successor if you fire him.
Listen, here's what else upsets me. Not only is he publicly shaming the Attorney General, who was one of the very first to back the president,
absolutely,
but now Senator Mikulski from Alaska basically turning his back on her and Alaska because of what happened with health care. So you just can't take this stuff personal, in my opinion. There's too much at stake here. And now this Boy Scout, he was at the Jamboree speaking, and they were saying he made it a political forum, and the Boy Scouts of America are apologizing for that. I think he needs to understand, and with all due respect, Mr. President, you are just that, the Commander-in-Chief,
right,
and you got to act presidential.
The speech he gave at the Boy Scout Jamboree conference was the speech that he gave, in a sense, when he went to Ohio yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm losing time here. And he gave a speech that was the right speech. You don't give that speech to a group of Boy Scouts.
Yeah, he was in Youngstown earlier this week.
Yes.
Hey, one more thing. The Russian sanctions, it's on. The Senate said yes. Everybody else is saying yes. Is this another slap at the president and his relationship with Russia, do you think?
Well, I think they're aiming at saying that we're going to get this straight. We're not going to let Russia walk all over us. We're not going to let Putin have his way. Now, if we know, and I'm sure some of your audience understands sanctions, they don't always work as intended. They've got to be vigorously enforced. They've got to be right at the moment they're implemented, be enforced to the hilt. The fact of the matter is that Trump is in a bind here. The Congress has the overwhelming votes to override a veto.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last thing the President of the United States wants, within barely, we're now past 6 months, in the infancy of his presidency, to veto a bill passed with bipartisan support in a Republican-controlled Congress. I think that would be a big mistake.
All right.
Let me quickly add one other thing before we move on. If you want to do health care, we can do that. Here's my own opinion, and you and I have talked about this before, is I think this White House staff at the upper level is dysfunctional.
Okay, I was going to let healthcare go because it's kind of become old news since I originally planned to do it, and they can't even pass a repeal vote to even.
No, they may take it up in Vote-A-Rama tonight at 8 o'clock, where if they can get it worked out, amendments are going to be passed, and they're calling it the skinny healthcare bill, meaning they're going to do things with taxes and individual and corporate insurance mandates. They're going to lift those. They are, and there is also discussion about whether they're going to put a 1-year moratorium on Planned Parenthood funding. The fact of the matter is that they could be in literally all night.
It'll never pass as long as they're continuing to talk about Medicaid cuts. It will not pass.
Medicaid cuts are off the table. In terms of what the leadership is thinking about, they're off the table. I agree with you. I'm not even sure what they're proposing will pass because it doesn't gut the Affordable Care Act. Therefore, you've got Republicans who aren't going to be on board.
Here's the thing. I was a believer in President Obama, but this not in everything that he did. I love the fact that he built out the automobile industry, but the fact of the matter is, Affordable Care Act means affordable. People that need health care were able to get it. And anytime you're talking Medicaid, whether it's on or off the table, but if you're taking away a possibility of someone who's out working every day as opposed to being on welfare and they can't get health insurance, then they finally say, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm going on welfare because I at least have to be able to take care of my kids. And if that takes someone out of the working role and the tax rule, then you know what? It's a big mistake. There's got to be a better way. But instead of trying to revamp something that actually was working, in my opinion, go out and create jobs, and the rest will take care of itself, Dr. Madonna.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why, we're out where you are in southwestern Pennsylvania, why the blue-collar workers out there revolted, supported Donald Trump, actually elected Donald Trump when you add those to the working-class voters up in the northeastern part of our state. And the focus now, in relationship to what you said, has to be on jobs training, skill training, getting people ready, Rob, for the jobs in healthcare and technology, in other words, for the new economy. These are people whose ancestors worked in coal and iron and steel and a whole array of industries out there in good-paying jobs. Now they're gone, and these folks, minimum wage jobs barely. The kids go to college, they don't come back to the state, there aren't any employment. There ought to be a consensus reached, and the Democrats came out with a program this week that is aimed at that very group of people I'm talking about. And so we'll see where it all goes. That would be the biggest thing that we could do right now, to provide this kind of education training so that folks could get good paying jobs.
Carpenters Union is doing it every day, and with news that, Foxconn may be coming to Wisconsin, and also Jeffrey Bezos today named the richest man in the world, but I'm sure he's, once you get past the first billion, if you have 90 billion, who cares? What he's very impressed with, the fact that his company is growing, and what I love about Amazon is they're adding jobs, and at this job fair, August 2nd, as many as 50,000 jobs could be created. Hey, listen, the first and last thing out of anybody in public office should always be JOBS, 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 jobs. Dr. Madonna, thank you very much. And by the way, belated happy birthday to your 3-year-old granddaughter.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The great Dr. Terry Madonna from Casa de Emmanuel in East Liverpool. Good night. Thanks, Terry.